There are biker rules everyone knows, the ones printed on shirts, carved into patches, repeated at bars and campfires. Respect the road. Respect the ride. Watch your brother's back. But then there are the rules nobody says out loud, the ones whispered only when the night is deep, when the engines are off, and when trust is heavier than the air itself. Among all those unspoken laws, one is feared more than any other. It is not written, not voted on, not enforced by officers. Yet every real biker understands it, and every real biker knows the cost of breaking it. To outsiders, motorcycle clubs look like chaos-loud machines, loud men, loud nights. But inside a club, the order is precise, intricate, and fragile. Brotherhood is not a word. It is a contract. Each rider becomes part of a chain, and when one link weakens, the entire chain trembles. That is why this rule exists. It protects the club from betrayal, from collapse, from outsiders who can't understand the weight of loyalty. They call it simply the rule, never fully explained, never openly discussed, but always there, silent and sharp. Every club has its own stories about it. Some say the rule began decades ago, during the old border wars between rival MCS fighting for territory. Others say it started after a single act of treachery nearly destroyed a brotherhood from the inside. But the truth doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling, because every biker has felt it. It begins when a rider realizes someone in the group is slipping. Maybe he's talking to the wrong people. Maybe he's hiding something. Maybe he's making choices that put the club at risk. At first, it's just a glance exchanged between members. Then it becomes a tension in the air, a quiet shift in formation, conversations that stop when the rider walks into the room. And finally, one night, he gets asked to step outside. Once you step outside, the road changes. The first story bikers whisper about happened in the early 1980s, when a club known for its discipline began to unravel from within. One of its own someone trusted, someone respected, had been passing information to a rival crew. Small things at first, meeting times, routes, personal details. Just enough to give the outsiders an edge. When the truth came out, the club didn't explode in rage. There were no fights, no shouting. They simply rode out together, a small group of brothers and the man who had betrayed them, heading toward a long stretch of desert highway where no one goes after midnight. Only the group returned. The rule had been carried out, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. A chain cannot afford to keep a broken link, but not all versions of the rule are deadly. Sometimes the punishment is exile. Not a vote, not an announcement, just a quiet shift that pushes a rider out until he has no place left among the pack. His patch may stay on his vest, but the brotherhood disappears around him. Conversations dry up, invitations stop. He rides alone, even when he's surrounded. For some riders, that loneliness is worse than any physical consequence. Because once you lose the brotherhood, the road feels different, colder, emptier, dangerous in a new way. One of the most disturbing accounts comes from a rider who survived what he called the silent ride. He had made a mistake, not betrayal, but something close enough. Something that cost the club money, safety, and trust. They didn't confront him. Instead, they took him on a long ride into the mountains. No words, no anger, just the sound of engines echoing off the cliffs. At the peak, the road split into two paths. The group took one. He was left facing the other. A nonverbal message that he understood instantly. This is where we go our separate ways. He never saw them again. To understand why this rule exists, you have to understand what brotherhood means to a biker. It isn't sentimental. It isn't symbolic. It is survival. When you ride in formation at high speed, inches from another bike, you're trusting that rider with your life. When you roll into enemy territory, you're trusting his judgment. When you break down at 2 a.m. on a deserted highway, you're trusting that he will turn back for you. Without that trust, without absolute loyalty, the whole thing falls apart. And so the rule lives on, unspoken but absolute. Every new prospect learns it without being told. He sees how the brothers watch each other, how they read each other's eyes, how quickly silence falls when loyalty is questioned. No one warns him, no one explains. He simply feels the rule in the air, heavy and real, like the weight of a loaded saddlebag. Some bikers say the rule keeps the club strong. Others say it makes the club dangerous. But all of them agree on one thing. You never want to be the rider who tests it. Because once that line is crossed, once you become the link that threatens the chain, there is no coming back. Your brothers will ride with you. They will take you wherever the road needs to go. And then, at the end of the journey, you will discover whether you are still part of the formation or whether you have reached your final destination as a brother. If you've made it this far, you understand something that most outsiders never will. Brotherhood is not free. Trust is not free. Loyalty is not free. And the rule that protects those things is not a myth. It is the backbone of every real club in the world. If you want more true biker stories, more secrets, more danger, more unspoken laws of the road, subscribe and stay with us. Because the next chapter takes us into a darker place than any rule or betrayal. Next time, we uncover the night 3 motorcycle clubs went to war, and the road that became a battlefield.